Good afternoon. First of all, welcome all, and many congratulations to all of you that you have chosen civil services as your career, because I think you all are graduate. Because choosing this path with lots of uncertainty is a very bold decision. So it should be appreciated that you have chosen that path. Today what we will do is that we will firstly discuss something about what we are going to provide you, and then I will be taking your Indian Constitution and polity, and then public administration and good governance. After 20-25 minutes we will talking about Indian polity, what are its syllabus, what should be its approach to prepare Indian Constitution and polity in perspectives of JPSC exam for both mains and prelims, and then we will discuss some few basics concept that needed to read the Indian polity. So first what we will do is here that if in this batch we will provide you regular classes. I think you all are aware about the facilities that are provided with us, but just for an information I will just in brief that we will provide you regular classes which will be live or recorded, and obviously if you are offline student then you will be come here, and in case if you are unable to attend some classes due to some specific reason, then for that particular class we will provide a backup video that will be provided to you, and then we provide you doubt session. Suppose in lectures there are some queries or some doubts that you are unable to understand, or you have some problems related to it, then after class you can consult me or other other faculties who will support you in clearing your doubt, and then we will provide you subject wise study material. We will provide you a booklet of every subject for mains, and for prelims we will provide you a guide that is famous for JPSC, which is Jharkhand Sar Sangrah, and we are planning for paper 1 also, that we will provide you. And then there will be regular class test. You have a on every Saturday you have a week test, and then we will start a full length test series of paper 1 and paper 2 for prelims, and if you able to clear prelims, then we will also provide you the test series for mains examination of GS. Then you have current affairs in your syllabus for prelims that will be provided to you, and along with this we will provide you a daily answer writing practice, because in civil services the most important and most crucial thing is answer writing practice. No matter what you have read or how much you have knowledge of particular subject, the matter is that on particular time or on particular day, what you able to write about the questions that are asked in mains examination. So answer writing is the most crucial things for civil services examination. If we talk about the 2-3 important aspects or 2-3 important factors that are required to clear civil services, either state civil services, you may call JPSC, for Jharkhand or UPSC, the answer writing practice will come at topmost priority for all the aspirants, because the answer writing practice able to make you the summarize topics or express your knowledge in limited words in limited time, because on the mains examination, when you are able to or qualified to write the mains exam, in that mains exam you have to write a particular answer in limited words in a proper structure or in a limited time frame, and for that you have to need a lot of practice. That's why we will provide the daily answer writing practice. After class you will have a topic wise daily answer writing practice, and that copy will be evaluated here, and in that evaluated copy you will get lots of tips or more things. And then the board notes in class, whatever the faculties will write on the board, that board in the form of PDF will be provided to you, so that if sometimes what happen in class, suppose that you are conscious about understanding any topics and you have left anything to write or forget to write, then if we provide you the board PDF, then through the board PDFs you can revise your whole classes, and that will benefit to in your conceptual clarities. That's are the facilities that we are going to provide you in this batch. And then this is the mock interview photos that we are conduct for those who are passed in mains examination. So so I think that if you are able to clarify your mains, then you will got opportunity to do mock interviews here. Now I think you all are aware about the stages or the syllabus or the marks that is required for JPSC examination. But in brief, in summary, I will discuss these things that for JPSC we have 3 stages examination: prelims, mains and interview. The prelims exam is all about objective question, MCQ questions. In prelims you have 2 papers, paper 1 or paper 2. Just a second. In prelims you have 2 papers, paper 1 and paper 2. Paper 1 is all about the general studies. In general studies 1 you have history, from where you have got 15 question, then geography, economy, polity and governance, then science, Jharkhand and current affairs, and then miscellaneous. If I talk about polity, you have do you know how much questions are asked in prelims from polity? Do you know? Okay, you all are fresher. तो मिनिमाइज कैसे करना है? अच्छा, so if I talk about paper 1 in prelims, then from polity you have 10 question, and out of 10, 4 question are from Constitution of India. Constitution of India, that means the core provision that are provided in Constitution about government, about president, about prime minister, about your fundamental rights, about your fundamental duties, about DPSP, center state relation. From that 4 question you got 4 question, and then 4 question from public administration and good governance. What is public administration? What are the views of different thinkers about public administration? What is good governance? What are the characteristics of good governance that are asked in this topic? And then at last you have decentralization, panchayat and municipalities. You have article 243 that deals about the local self government, and in local self government, and if you able to remember all the provisions of article 243, then you will able to encase these 2 questions, because in previous all JPSC examination since the pattern has been changed, all questions are related about the articles that are mentioned in article 243. And then you have economic and sustainable development. From that you have 10 questions, and then Science and Technology, and Jharkhand Current Affairs and Miscellaneous. I will be talking about the Indian polity and governance in prelims or mains point of views. So in prelims you have got 10 questions from Indian polity and governance. Since JPSC has two paper in prelims, the most obvious important thing in JPSC prelims is Jharkhand, because the whole paper 2 is all about Jharkhand, and in paper 1 also you got at least 10 question from Jharkhand. So overall you have 110 question from Jharkhand. So in JPSC the most important thing is Jharkhand. The most you have able to prepare the Jharkhand, the most chances you will get to clarify the prelims examination. So from prelims point of views, the polity is not going to the major factor for your selection or for your elimination, because if you read a book of 1,000 pages, you will be able to, out of 10 you will able to correct only 3 or 4 questions, and if you read approximately 50 to 80 pages of notes, then you will be able to correct 4 or 5 questions. So it is not required in PT point of view to read the whole 1,000 pages to maximize your marks by 2 or 3 marks. So from PT point of views, you have not to worry too much about the Indian polity. The main important factor that Indian polity, constitution, public administration and governance played is in mains examination. In mains examination, since you are aware that the whole pattern of mains examination in JPSC compromises a regional language of 150 marks. You have a list of regional language from which you have to opt one. In that you will have 150 marks, and then there are 4 papers of general studies. In 4 papers, the first paper is about history and geography. The question paper will be divided into 2 sections, section 1 and section 2. Section A comprises history and section 2 contain the geography questions. And in mains also you will get 10 MCQ question from each section, and you have to write 2 full descriptive answer of 40 marks each. For that you will be provided the 40 marks question of 4 in each section. Suppose that if I talk about this paper 3, then paper 3 will be divided into section A and section B. In section A you will have 10 MCQ question and 4 40 marks question, and out of 4 you have to write only 2 questions. And in these 2 also, in these 4 questions you have 1 question from ancient India, you have 1 question from medieval, you will have 1 question from modern Indian history, and 1 question from Jharkhand history. So suppose that you have prepared the Jharkhand history, then you will be able to write a question from Jharkhand history of 40 marks, and out of 3, if you have prepared 1 section, suppose that someone has prepared ancient India, someone has prepared medieval India, someone has prepared modern India, then he or she will able to write 1 question from either ancient, medieval or modern. And if you compromises Jharkhand history and then anyone among these 3, then you have 2 long answer and 10 MCQ questions. Same goes to geography also. In syllabus, when the syllabus of geography will be discussed, you will see that the syllabus of geography is also divided into physical geography, Indian geography, and then economic geography. From each section you have a question, and then geography of Jharkhand. You have 4 sections of geography, and you will get 4 questions in geography, and out of 4 you have to write 4 questions. That is all about the paper 3. Now my turn is about, or I will be responsible for your paper 4 only, that is Indian Constitution and Polity, Public Administration and Governance. The trick here is, in all these paper 3, paper 5 or paper 6, the JPSC has divided section A or section B according to the subjects, but in paper 4 in last 2-3 exams, the JPSC hasn't divided section on the basis of subject. The JPSC has divided section on the basis of nature of question. That is, you will have the 2 section in the question paper of paper 4, but section A will comprises all MCQ question, that is 20 MCQ question, comprises which will have the questions from constitution, polity, public administration and good governance, and the section B will have 8 long questions that will be from constitution, polity, public administration and good governance. The trick here is, as we have discussed the paper 3, you will have 4 questions from history, out of which you have to write 2, and you will have 4 questions from geography, out of which you have to write 2 clearly. But the problem here is that you have a 8 question, but that 8 question will not compromises the 4 from polity and 4 from PubAd. You have a mix up of polity and public administration. One thing is sure, that you will get 2 or 3 questions that are based on core, polity or constitution, but it is not important that all the 4 questions or all the 8 out of 8 questions you will be able to write 4 questions by only reading or preparing Indian polity. Because if you prepared on only Indian constitution and polity, you will fall in a trap that out of 8 you will be able to write 3 questions, but if you haven't aware or read the public administration and good governance, you will be not right to write your 4th question. Clear? Is that clear? I will show you some example here from this section, that in the last 11 to 13 JPSC exam, mains exam, and then a backlog exam, in paper 4 the JPSC has asked only 3 questions that can be written by reading only polity and constitution. To write the 4th one, you need to read the public administration. There is a question that describe the power and function of Indian Prime Minister in post-globalized era. Clear? You will read the power, function, position of Indian Prime Minister in the constitution part, but you will be not right to the next part of question, that is in globalized era, because you will read about the back office of Prime Minister, that is Cabinet Secretariat, Central Secretariat, PMO. All you will read, all these things you will read in public administration. Clear? So to write the 4 question in paper 4, you have to read Indian polity, constitution, public administration and good governance. As far as MCQ is concerned, that are divided. 10 MCQ will be based on constitution and polity, and 10 MCQ will be based on public administration and good governance. So I will be here responsible for this whole paper. Now, at first, what you have to do for this subject, or I think all other subjects also, that at first you should start the comprehending or reading whole syllabus of the subject. Suppose if you are starting your preparation with Indian Constitution and polity, then first thing that you should do is to read the syllabus. And how will you read that syllabus? How will you read that syllabus? you can download the whole syllabus from JPSC website. The JPSC has provided the whole syllabus in English only, so you can download from there. Before reading the topics, I will suggest that you should first read this instruction that is provided in each subject. From that instruction, you will be able to comprehend the nature, type, or the pattern of question paper. If I read here that the question paper of Indian Constitution, Polity and Public Administration shall consist of two distinct sections that I have discussed. One on Indian Constitution and Polity, other on Public Administration and Good Governance, each of 100 marks. So you have 100 marks from Indian Constitution and Polity and 100 marks from Public Administration and Good Governance. The candidate will be required to answer one compulsory and two optional questions from each section. One compulsory, that is MCQ, 10 MCQ that are compulsory, mandatory, and two optional questions from each section. In each section you will get 4 questions that of nature of long answers carrying 40 marks each. And out of 4 you have to write 2 answers. So if you read this instruction, you will be able to understand the nature of question paper and how the JPSC asks question. Everyone who have some knowledge of civil services or who have prepared for civil services, they suggest that before starting your preparation, you should first read the syllabus. That is the most crucial thing. But what I like to suggest you that with syllabus you should also look at the previous year questions, because when you combine the syllabus and PYQ, it will be better for you, because the combination of syllabus and PYQ will provide you a clear path or clear direction towards every topic, or in which direction you have to prepare, in which width, or in how much long or how in detail you have to prepare the particular topic. So to understand the topic, suppose that for example here if I read the syllabus, the first topic is Preamble of Indian Constitution, Secular, Democratic, Socialist and Philosophy behind it. From syllabus you will be able to understand that you have to read the preamble. But in preamble, if you read the preamble, you will have certain keywords like secular, democratic, socialist, republic, democratic, justice, equality, fraternity, integrity, brotherhood. That's are the keywords, date or sources that are mentioned in preamble. You have certain important cases or certain important verdict of Supreme Court that you have to read. But you are here or you are reading Indian Constitution to crack JPSC, not to become a constitutional specialist. For that, you need to understand that how much time or how long I will give to the topic preamble. And for that, you have to understand the nature of question that has been asked from particular question. If you analyze the question from particular, suppose that from preamble you have you have understand the topic, and when you will analyze the previous year question, then you will be able to in the backlog JPSC has asked that, do you agree that philosophy behind the preamble of Indian Constitution is under threat in the present scenario? Explain with suitable example. You have read preamble topic in syllabus. Now you can see the nature of question, that the question is based upon the philosophy behind preamble, and the question is also linked with the current events that are happening in our country. Current events, that is, there are certain debate regarding secularism. There are certain debates regarding socialism. There are certain debates related to parliamentary form of government or presidential form of government. So you have to include the recent debate that are going on in your answer. So you are able to understand that only reading the provisions and the concepts of preamble will not help you to write the correct answer that are asked in JPSC. But with the key concepts or the provisions, you have to also sum up recent news or some recent debates that are going on in the on national level or state level. By combining these two, you will be able to write the question if asked from topic preamble. Clear? From here, we can also conclude that the all pundits and all experts of JPSC suggest you that there is no requirement of current affairs for JPSC. I think you all also heard from some expert that there is no need of current affairs in JPSC. But from the question that we have read, that is asked in JPSC backlog mains examination, you will can comprehend that at least in this subject, that means constitution, polity, economy, governance, you have to read the some debates or some news that are going on national or state level, because the question will be asked from that nature. That you have to, that was the core concept. That suppose that while we are reading or we are discussing the preamble, for that we will read the provisions of constitution and then certain debates of judiciary over preamble, that is preamble is a part of constitution or not, what is the relevance of preamble in a constitution, what is the use of preamble in the constitution, that is a part of key concept. Clear? For example, in all of the topics or in maximum of the topics that are given in polity, you will hear the 𝐻𝐮 Bharati case, Golaknath case, Minerva Mills case. That are the part of key conceptual clarity, because in constitution only it is given that the judiciary will be the key protector of constitution. Clear? That is the part of key concept. But the question that we have read, that what are the reason, what are the philosophical do you agree that philosophy behind preamble of Indian Constitution is under threat in present scenario? Present scenario, which means in 2024. But the 𝐻𝐮 and Bharati or Minerva Mills case are of 70s or 80s. But you have to aware about what is going on in 2024. Suppose that you are planning to give 14 JPSC, then you have to aware about what is going on in 2025. From where you can, because the question is asked from the certain debates that are going on. There are certain events of mob lynching, there are certain events that affect the secular provision of Indian Constitution. There are certain events that affect the socialism. There are certain provisions that affect the republic or democratic nature of Indian Constitution. That's why this question has been asked. So to write this type of answer, you have to read the current affairs also. Suppose if you not read the current affairs, and maximum of the student who are preparing for JPSC are not going to read the current affairs. And suppose if you are not aware about current events, then how will you comprehend or write this question? You can you will do that. At first you will write an introduction 80 to 100 words, in which you will give preamble is decorative or this or that, and then you will write all the keywords and their meanings. Clear? But that is the not sufficient answer of this question. The demand of question is something else and you are giving something else. Suppose you are an examiner, and if you are going to evaluate that copy, how much marks will you give that? To fetch extra marks from all other candidates or aspirants, you have to do something extra. The simple formula in civil services is that from all average student, you should try to fetch one extra marks, because that one extra marks is going to decide your rank, and that one extra mark is going to decide that you are facing interview or not. An interview also, if you fetch some extra marks from other candidate, then that will decide your rank or service allocation. In civil services preparation, two things is mandatory, that mains decide your result, mains examination decides your result, and interview decides your rank. You will not able to qualify the JPSC exam only on the merit of interview. If you haven't scored well in mains examination, you will not able to get your name in the final merit list. So the main important factor or most important thing in all three stages is mains examination. You have to prepare only. If you are going to give your 1 year to the preparation of JPSC, you should invest 7 to 8 months in preparing for mains, and 2.5 months to prelims. And the interview is all about personality, that is not going to develop within a month or a week or a year. That is your personal choice, that is your personal reflection, that is your reflection of mindset, that is the reflection what you think, that is the reflection of your thought process. Interview is all about your presentation, your thought process. In interview, they ask dilemma based question, and in dilemma based, you cannot answer dilemma based question by rote memorizing any answer. That answer will reflect your personality, and from that answer they will decide that you are suitable for certain jobs or not. Clear? So first topic is preamble of Indian Constitution, and then next is silent feature of Indian Constitution, concept of public interest litigation, basic structure of Indian Constitution. JPSC has asked concept of public interest litigation as in short notes. JPSC has asked this question as a short notes, that is of 20 marks. Silent feature of Indian Constitution. You will not get a direct question from here. That is, the JPSC is not going to ask you that mention the important features of Indian Constitution. In one mains examination, JPSC has asked that although Indian Constitution has a provision of federal structure, but there are certain provisions that make it unitary in nature. Justify, clarify or examine. That is a question asked in JPSC. I show you that question. Working. Yeah, here is a question of concept of public interest litigation. Yeah. Unitary elements in Indian Constitution of India are overstressed while federal character is under-emphasized. Do you agree? Give reason to support your answer. To write answer of this question, you have to, you should have knowledge of federal character, that is federal structure, unitary features, provisions related to division of power, provision related to function of governor, provision related to functions and power of constitutional bodies. That is, for example, Finance Commission is a constitutional body under Article 280. The Finance Commission has been is recruited by the President. Finance Commission is recruited by the President on every 5 years. What is the function of Finance Commission? Finance Commission decides the share of revenue between center and state and among the states. That is a body, that is a constitutional body, is working on federal character but appointed only by central government. Election Commission is a constitutional body. What is the function of Election Commission? To conduct election of parliament of both houses, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, and state assemblies. Election Commission, constitutional bodies appointed by center, performing the function of state government. They are organizing elections of state assembly. Conflict. There are certain provision. There is a provision in Indian Constitution that the central government has power to direct the state government in order to implement any international treaties. The government of India can order government of Jharkhand in any matter that is related to international treaties. The central government is inflicting or breaching the power of state government. The central government has power to give direction or order to the state government in order to maintenance of the properties of central government. Railways. Railway is a property of central government, and central government can order the state government to maintain railway track. Central government can order the state government to provide electricity to railway. That are the unitary based features of Indian Constitution. Central government appoint governor. President appoint governor on recommendation of Prime Minister. On suggestion of Prime Minister, President appoint governor. Who is governor? Governor is the executive head of state. Every decision of state government will be taken on the name of governor. The individual appointed by central government is performing duty of state government or is the head of state government. Conflict. You need to know all these provisions, then you will be able to write this answer. Simply, before GST, there are certain provisions in which taxes are imposed by center but collected and kept by state government. But after GST, this problem got solved because all the provisions related to indirect taxes are forwarded to GST Council, where the state and center has equal voting rights. Clearly. So to write this type of answer, you need to understand the whole concept and whole polity. You need to understand the center-state relation, and to understand the center-state relation, you need to understand the provision of state government, the provision of central government, the function of president, the function of governor, the function of finance commission, the function of governor, and the function of all other constitutional bodies that are involved in center and state. Constitutional bodies are such bodies that are formed with the provision of constitution and that are or those bodies which are mentioned in constitution directly is known as constitutional bodies. There are certain non-constitutional bodies which are formed either by an act passed by legislative or by an executive order. There are certain difference between constitutional body, non-constitutional body, statutory body, non-statutory body. That these bodies are going to play important factor in whole polity of your syllabus, and all body will be discussed in the upcoming classes. What are the silent features of Indian Constitution? Indian Constitution is one of the lengthiest constitution of the world. Indian Constitution is flexible. In normal terms it remains federal, but in emergency it convert into unitary. These are the features of Indian Constitution that you have to read. Then fundamental rights and duties. This is the most important topic, and JPSC in last 4 exams from 6th JPSC, on an average on every exam they have asked a question from fundamental rights. In one exam the JPSC has asked that the Indian Constitution provide fundamental rights and fundamental duties to the citizen, but the provisions of fundamental rights are overstressed. That is, they are explicitly explained, elaborative, but the fundamental duties does not get so much importance. Do you agree? Clarify. To write this type of answer, you need to understand the rights. First of all, what is rights? Then what is fundamental rights? What is human rights? What is the difference between rights, fundamental rights, human rights? What is civil rights? What is legal rights? What is statutory rights? And the difference between statutory rights, legal rights, constitutional rights, fundamental rights and human rights. And then the provision that are mentioned in Indian Constitution from Article 12 to 35. You need to understand the Article 14, equality before law. You need to understand the discrimination. There are certain debates or decision of judiciary in the fundamental rights. Judiciary in time to time has elaborated the scope or extent of fundamental rights through their various judgment. For example, Article 21, Article 19, Article 21 provide you right to life with dignity, but the judiciary in time to time have included that right to clean environment is a part of right to life. Right to education should be a part of right to life. Right to sleep should be a part of right to life. Right to choose your partner is a part of right to life. Right to sexual orientation is a part of right to life. All these expansion are done by judiciary. Similarly, Article 19 provide you freedom of speech and expression. RTI should be a part of Article 19. That is, without information you will not able to express yourself. Suppose you have to criticize the government scheme. How will you criticize the government scheme if you have not the certain information related to that scheme? Suppose you have not the information about Mayya Samman Yojana, then how will you criticize it, or how will you evaluate it, whether it is a good, whether it is a bad, or what reform should be inculcated in this program? For that you need information. So for expression you need information. That's why right to information is a part of Article 19. Expression, you can express yourself through many ways, through your dress, through your food habit, through your songs, through sports, through writings, through flag. That is the part of expression, and all these are coined by the judiciary from time to time. That all these are a part of expression. You can express yourself by remaining silent. मौन व्रत रह के भी आप अपने आप को एक्सप्रेस कर सकते हैं. This is the statement of judiciary. That's how the judiciary expanded the scope of fundamental rights. But what is about fundamental duties? It has been once included in Indian Constitution, and then the government and the common citizen have forgotten it. So, if state is providing you the rights, state also expect you to perform the certain duties. If you are not performing your duties and you are only exploiting your rights, then then what it will result? It will result that at one point of time the state will get exploited on the demand of rights, and in return, if citizen does not follow their duties, then what state will do? Then at point of time the state have to curtail the certain rights of citizen. There is a famous thinker in political science who one said that your freedom ends at that moment from where another man's freedom begins. जहां पे आपकी स्वतंत्रता वहां खत्म होती है जहां दूसरे की स्वतंत्रता शुरू होती है. Your freedom ends at that moment from where the freedom of other individual begins. Next topic is directive principle of state policies. The fundamental duties is all about the citizen, and the DPSP is all about state. State should perform all those duties that are required to fulfill the provision that are mentioned in DPSP, that is given in article 36 to 51. And there are a certain tension or certain conflict between fundamental rights and DPSP. The judiciary has given a balanced approach how to maintain a harmony or balance between DPSP and fundamental rights. There are certain DPSP that if states going to implement, it will harm the rights of any individual. So there is a need to maintain a balance between fundamental rights and DPSP. In preamble, the Constitution has mentioned that we are dreaming or expecting to build a society where everyone gets equality on the basis of social, economic and political. The state will provide justice to its citizen. What kind of justice? Social justice, economic justice and political justice. We are building a society that will work on fraternity, that will work on brotherhood. And how we are going to build this type of societies? Through fulfilling the provision that are given in DPSP. How will you provide the social justice to any socially weaker or socially exploited class? You have to make certain positive provision with respect to that particular class, so that you can push him to become equal amongst the equal. And then union government. In union government you will read about executive, that is president, prime minister and coalition government, then legislature, and then judiciary, and then state government. And after that you have to read center-state relation, provision related to administration of scheduled area, scheduled tribe, special provision related to reservation of seats for SC and ST in legislature, service, etc., emergency provision, CAG, Election Commission of India, political party and pressure groups. These are the 13 topics that are mentioned in your syllabus. You have to prepare it for Indian Constitution and polity. Next important question is that from where you can prepare these things. So in market there are certain sources available from where you can prepare it, but there are two books or at least one books that I suggest to every aspirant who are preparing for civil services for constitution, polity and Panchayati Raj. This is a NCERT book, Indian Constitution and book of 11th class, and another NCERT, political theory. In this book, you will able to understand the basic concept of constitution. What is constitution? How constitution is built? Why constitution is required? What are the provision of constitution? What is election? What is rights? Why rights are important? All these basic concepts are given in this book. So, one who are preparing for civil services should read this book. This is the most important and most crucial book. Then another is political theory. In this book, you are going to understand is what is equality, what is freedom, what is social justice, what is development, what is democracy. All these concepts are given in this book. So, one should read these two books for polity, for basic understanding. The nature of questions that are asked in civil services are more conceptual based. So, to construct a building, you should have a strong foundation, and this book will help you to build a strong foundation. Hardly 1 or 2 weeks, within a 1 or 2 week you can complete these both books clearly. And if you are planning to attempt any other civil services, for example BPSC, UPPCS or UPSC, then there is a basic difference between UPSC, BPSC, UPPCS, all other state PCS and Jharkhand, is that the prelims of all other civil services examination becoming more difficult or more tough as compared to mains because of the standard or level of question or increasing in competition. But in Jharkhand, the mains is difficult than prelims. Why? Prelims, you can able to cross the cutoff marks of prelims through reading Jharkhand. If you have a comprehend command on Jharkhand, you will able to clear prelims. But in mains, you have to read all the subjects as per syllabus, or for prelims you have to read the current affairs, but for mains also, specifically in polity or economy or sometimes geography, you should read current affairs. Not necessarily I suggest that you read per day newspaper, but within a week, or you can do one thing that you can subscribe a magazine, monthly magazine, from where you can read, because you need to know the recent development in polity, constitution, in economy. For example, in economy, the syllabus of JPSC has been designed in after 5th JPSC. From 6th JPSC there is a common syllabus, but in economy you have to read economic survey and budget every year. If you are reading banking in economy, You need to know the current rate of repo rate, reverse repo rate, inflation. Similarly, in polity, if you are reading fundamental rights, suppose that tomorrow government brought a major changes in fundamental rights, you need to know that change. So for polity also you need to read current affairs, not necessarily regularly, but you should have a monthly subscription of any magazine that are designed for civil services. So these two books are compulsory. Either you are preparing for yourself or you are preparing through lectures. These two books are compulsory. And then if you have a hunger or desire to read more about these things, then you can read this book, Our Political System, written by 𝐻𝐮𝐫 𝐀𝐯𝐚𝐢𝐥𝐚. Clear? This is optional. If you have a hunger to read, then you can read. But these two are compulsory. Clear? Then what should be the major source or main source for polity? I think you all have heard about this book. Lakshmikant. I think in the latest edition it has approximately 950 pages. And how much topic you have to read in polity according to your syllabus? एक बुकलेट ले आओ ना पॉलिटी का इंग्लिश मीडियम में. How much topics you have to read as per your JPSC syllabus? 18. For 18 topic you have to read 950 pages. And then D.D. Basu, Introduction to the Constitution of India. Initially, if you pick this book, the next moment you will quit the preparation of civil services, because language or sentence structure is so much advanced that it become, every sentence or every word of this book will look like a bouncer of Shoaib Akhtar or some Mitchell Starr. Then there is a alternate to this book is Our Constitution, written by Subhas Kashyap. And then there is alternate of this Indian Polity, written by Faria and Faria of Sahitya Bhavan publication. Clear? Or you can choose any one among these four. And above all, for JPSC, you will have a booklet, this type of booklet. This type of booklet you will get here. This booklet and then class notes. Is much more sufficient for JPSC for polity constitution, and same goes for public administration, but when we will discuss about public administration, there we will talk about that. So do one thing, purchase these two books, or if you have able to read online mode, then you can download from NCERT website. You have to spend, I think, 200 or 250 rupees for these two books, and then you will have this booklet and class notes, proper class notes, that will be sufficient for mains. And for prelims, again you will get class notes or some kind of printed notes from Udaan IAS Academy. That will be sufficient for prelims for polity. By reading these two, class notes or printed notes, out of 10 you will able to correct 4 or 5, or by reading Lakshmikant you will able to correct 4 or 5. These two if you combine these two, you have I think approx 200 pages, and Lakshmikant is all about 950. By reading 200 pages you are going to correct 5 questions. By reading 950 pages you will going to correct 5 questions. Choice is yours. Clear? Now there are certain things or certain basic concept that you need to know before starting reading the core polity or constitution or anything else. First of all, most important or necessary is what is society. Anyone can define it? What is society? Actually, before going to this concept, I should discuss one more thing, that I have mentioned that the most important factor is answer writing. Clear? JPSC has not mentioned the word limit in paper of polity and public administration, but on standard basis 1 marks, if a question is of 1 marks, then one should write at least 15 words. Clear? So for 40 marks you should write approximately 600 to 650 words. Clear? And the answer for civil services has a basic structure. Answer should start with an introduction, then proceed to body, the main part, and then you have to conclude your answer. These 3 parts are the most important part of answer writing. Out of 600 or 650 word, how much you are going to spend on introduction? So ideally 15 to 20% words should be written in introduction, or same 15 to 20% words should be written in conclusion. Try to concise is 20% is maximum. Try to remain at 15 or 16%. That means less than 100 words. Your introduction should be less than 100 words and your introduction should be less than 100 words. Rest should be a part of body. Clear? Next thing. Never start your answer by giving heading introduction. Never start your answer like this, that you have given an introduction heading, then you are writing the introduction. This is not a basic pattern followed. And then never write conclusion as your subheading. That is, by ending body you are mentioning a topic, subheading, conclusion, then you are concluding the answer. This is not a standard format. You should not mention introduction, you should not mention conclusion or body in your answer, but the structure of your answer should reflect that, yeah, this part is body, this part is conclusion, this part is introduction. And try to write in paragraph or point wise. Try to write in paragraph or point wise, or you can mix up both paragraph or point wise also. If you are writing in paragraph, try to write shorter paragraph. Shorter paragraph, that means 60 to 70 words, then change the paragraph. Then your answer should be written in such format that, or in such and you should use such words that by reading a 10th class student or a person who are able to read can understand the whole topic. That should be the standard of your answer. You should not use the English of Mr. Shashi Tharoor or Oxford or Harvard University. You should use such word that is common in use, or that can be understood by an individual who is able to understand the English. That should be the standard of your words. Clear? Your answer sheet should be neat or clean. Suppose that you have written something in answer sheet, but you thought that it should not correct or it is wrong, then simply cross it like this. Never do like this. Your answer sheet should be as much as neat and clean as a groom in his marriage. Clear? These are the basic things. And from the day when you have start your preparation for civil services, next day, first thing you do that you start write answer. Your answer writing practice start simultaneously with the dream of becoming a DSP or BDO or deputy collector or educational officer or financial officer. That is going to decide you. So I suggest that you should all start writing answer. The next is how to write answer. Simply read NCERT. In every chapter, at the last and at the end of the chapter, you have some question. Write that the answer of this question, and then evaluate on yourself that whether what I have written is good or not. If you are going to start your answer writing from 21st of March, clearly, then on 30th April, that is on 50th day, you will able to write a correct answer. And the moment or the day when you will write your 50th or 51st answer, same day, do one thing. Keep your first answer sheet in a safe, that is, keep it safe, and then read your 51st answer and then read your first answer. You will able to understand the improvisation that has been inculcated in yourself through these 50 days. There is no shortcut of answer writing. As much as you write, as much you will able to present yourself, because the evaluator does not know you personally. He will understand your personality or your ability to become an administrator through your answer sheet. So this is the best process to start your answer writing. Clear? Now some basic. You have mentioned that what is society? Can anyone define it? So what you have, as per your answer, same area, same resources, either natural or man-made, and then heterogeneous population. This combination of these three makes a society as per your definition or your understanding. Can you able to define it?
People, they are certain social goals and social elevation to certain things that they combine themselves.
Can you repeat again?
So like group of people, certain group of people, they combine on a particular social goal and social elevation that they are targeted to, and they come together to form a particular society.
Yeah, that is society. I think you are aware about the societies. So why we are talking about society in polity? Because before the concept of society has evolved, the people are living as a nomadic, and after certain interval of time they decided to live together, and when they decided to live together they have decided a fixed geographical territorial area, that in this area we will reside. They have common communication medium, and in other word we can say that they share common language, they have common culture, that is they have common food habit, they have common festivals, they have common dressing sense. So a fixed territory, a common culture, common medium of communication, and they use common resource available to their explosion, to their use, are known as society. So from nomadic, the people have decided to form a society, and after the formation of society, the people have decided to spend a settled life. To spend a settled life, the people need to work or to do anything for their livelihood. So some have become farmer, some become merchant, some become carpenter, some become blacksmith, some become goldsmith, some become milkman, some become soap owner, some become transport facilitator. So they have decided the work among themselves. Some have decided to work as an educator. Clearly. So the moment they decided to spend a settled life, they decided their work among themselves, and then the most important thing they expected, that the settled life, suppose that there are two groups. One group lived here and another group lived here. With the interval of time, obviously population of each group will increase. As population increase, the demand will increase. Demand of work, demand of resources. Suppose that group A use 500 kg of grain per month at certain interval of time. After 50 years, for example, I think it will increase to 600 kg of grains per month due to increase in population. So extra 100 kg of grains, they need to cultivate it, and to cultivate extra grain they need extra land and other resources. And to expand their area, they started to fight. Suppose that when an individual is a farmer, he gives his all day time to the farming. Or suppose a man from a family is working in a distance area, in a distance of 15 to 20 kilometers, he worked as a merchant. Clear? In his absence, he will ensure that his family will remain safe. So after these incidents, the most important factor that make them insecure is their safety. सपोज दैट जैसे कोई व्यक्ति है वो घर से बाहर जाके काम कर रहा है, वो ये तो सुनिश्चित करेगा ना कि मेरे एब्सेंस में मेरे घर के जो फैमिली मेंबर है, छोटा बच्चा है, वाइफ है और भी जो लोग हैं वो सेफ रहे. सेफ्टी कंसर्न हो गया. एंड ड्यू टू दिस सेफ्टी कंसर्न दे फॉर्म एन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. They form an organization, and the work and the purpose of this organization is to provide safety to all its citizens. To provide safety to all its citizens, and in return the citizen provide him some revenue, from where the concept of government has evolved. Initially, the function of government is to maintain law and order, and in return they collect taxes. That is the sole core function or core purpose of government organization. Any government perform only these two things. All other things are related to it. So after society, the concept of government evolved. And what is government? Government is a political institution that performs certain functions that are provided to it by the citizen. Government, the functions of government is derived directly from the people. The people has given his certain rights to the government, that on behalf of us, the particular organization will perform these functions. That is the government, that is the definition of government. And with the government, the concept of state evolved. What is in state? State is also an organization that works for its people. That works for its people. Either welfare work or safety works, security works, economic works or political works. Clear? And from here, different types of political system has evolved. For example, democracy. For example, autocracy. And what is democracy? The system of government where the power resides in the hand of people and they rule themselves either directly or indirectly or through their representatives. A political system where the power remains in the hand of people and they decide their future either themselves or through the representatives elected by them. That is democracy. That is the meaning of for the people, by the people or of the people. And what is autocracy? Concentration of power in few hands. That is autocracy. Both are type of state. There are certain states which are democrats in nature. For example, India. There are certain states that are autocrat in nature. That is North Korea. Clear? What is the core of democracy? What is the core of democracy? Because the whole constitutional provision and political system of India resides on the concept of democracy. So what is the basis of how anyone can believe that the system is democratic or not? What are the features of democracy?
That are given by the Constitution that we can take, that we can evolve and take action.
So as per your definition, democracy must have a constitution, as per your definition, because you have mentioned that constitution will provide certain rights to its citizen in a democratic system. So the first feature of democratic system is to have a constitution. Then there are certain things that decides whether a state is a democrat or not. What are the things? The first is rule of law. The first thing is rule of law. Democracy is not possible without rule of law. If a state claims to be a democratic state and there is absence of rule of law, then the nature of state will never be a democratic state. What is rule of law? Rule of law means supremacy of rule. Rule of law means supremacy of law. Nothing is beyond law. Everything is under law. Either head of state or a common people or common citizen. Everything will reside under the boundary line of law. That is the rule of law. So first important factor that decides a state or a political system is a democrat or not is the presence of rule of law. For example, India has a written constitution. Clear? Britain has not a written constitution. But India is also a democratic country and Britain is also a democratic country. So presence of constitution in written form is not compulsory. Constitution can be of written or unwritten, but the political system or government system contains rule of law, then it will ensure that there is a democratic system and in that territory or area. Clear? So first important thing for a democracy is rule of law. Then there are two aspects or two derivatives of rule of law, that is due process of law. In a democracy, if a legislative organ is responsible to form or draft a law, then is it possible that it can decrease the rights or powers of other organs with respect to it? Is it possible? If a body has a power to make laws for a country, clear? If a body has power to make laws to the country, for that country, clear? So is it possible in any circumstances that body will make itself more powerful as compared to other bodies? Is it possible? Yeah, is it possible? Suppose if a body has a power to make a law for a certain geographical area for a certain state. So that body has opportunity to increase its power and decrease the power of other organization. There is a possibility or not? Possibility. To check that possibility, a concept due process of law should be in a democratic system. What is due process of law? Due process of law is that if a law is drafted by legislature or any body, what is the intention behind that law? And is all process or provisions are followed while drafting that bill? Clear? That is due process of law. What is the importance of due process of law? Due process of law ensure that while drafting a law or making a rule, the body that are responsible to make a law has followed the provision as prescribed to it. Suppose that you become ill or you have a fever, you will go to a physician. He will prescribe you certain medicines or some other checkups. If you have to आपको अगर जल्दी ठीक होना है तो एज पर प्रिस्क्रिप्शन आपको क्या करना होगा? दवाई लेना होगा. That is due process of law. Due process of law ensures that every body, either legislative, executive, remains in their boundary wall. Yeah, it also ensures checks and balance. That is due process of law. Rule of law, due process of law. These two topics we will discuss more in detail while we are going to read the fundamental rights. Here I am just making you aware about these topics. There are one more thing. Procedure established by law. Procedure established by law. One concept is from Britain, one concept is from USA. What is procedure established by law? It tells that if a law is drafted by legislature, the legislature should have followed the steps that are mentioned to make a law. The legislature should also make in detail what is the intention behind it. Clear? These two tools are used by judiciary to check legislature and executive, and these two ensure rule of law. Clear? Clear? And what other things that is important for rule of law? Other things is equality before law. Equality before law. Democracy means equality before law. What is equality before law? Equality before law is everyone is beyond law and everyone is equal in the eye of law. No matter whether you are a XYZ or you are a XYZ Ambani. Both are equal in the eye of law. Both have committed a crime or both have violated the constitution. Both will get same kind of punishment through judiciary. That is equality before law. No one can exceed law. It ensures the supremacy of law. Then what is democracy means? Absence of arbitrary power. Absence of arbitrary power. Do you understand by arbitrary power? What do you mean by arbitrary power? In short, concentration of power. It avoid concentration of power because concentration of power leads to autocracy. In political sphere or for political use, the opposition party always use the term dictatorship, तानाशाह हो गया. That means the concentration of power. So democracy or rule of law ensure that arbitrary power should be eliminated in a political organization or in a territorial area where democracy is present. Clear? So these things make democracy. These things ensure the presence of democracy in a society. Now, to ensure democracy or to ensure due process of law or to ensure procedure established by law or to ensure equality before of law, it is compulsory to divide or distribute the different powers and functions among the different organs of state or decide the power and authority of government and the rights and duties of citizen. Clear? I am repeating one. To ensure democracy or rule of law or equality before law, it is compulsory to decide the power and limit of government and the rights and duties of citizen, so that the government does not become arbitrary and citizen does not violate the rule. Clear? Once again I am repeating that democracy, in order to ensure rule of law, due process of law or equality before law, it is compulsory to have a written or a formal document which decides the power and function of government or restrict or limit the power and function of government in order to ensure the absence of arbitrariness of government and also provide rights and duties to citizen. Clear? And for that the constitution are formed. And for that constitution are drafted or formed. Now what is constitution? Constitution is a document which prescribes or which limits the power of government and provide rights and duties to citizen. Constitution contains certain provisions, laws and rules that provide certain powers to government or limits the power of governments and provide rights and duties to the citizen. It is called a constitution, and constitution is of two types. These two types, either written or either unwritten. Constitution can be of written or constitution can be of unwritten. Now what is written constitution? All those provisions should be written in a documented format or in a book or in a document. And what is unwritten constitution? It has been followed by tradition or every law. There is a one difference between in written constitution. Once a constitution is written, then the constitution provide powers to legislature, to executive, to judiciary and to other organizations. Clear? So constitution clearly mentions that the legislature is responsible to make laws. Clear that? And the legislature will make all laws as per provision of constitution. So the place where written constitution is present, the supreme is constitution, because every organization derived its power from constitution. For example, India has a written constitution. India has a legislative at central level and at state level. Parliament has power to make laws which are provided to it. State legislature has power to make laws which are provided to it. Provided by whom? Provided by Constitution of India. Clear? Executive is responsible to execute the laws made by legislature. Executive present at central level, executive present at state level. Executive cannot go beyond its power. The power of executive is limited by constitution, and the power of legislature is limited by constitution. Constitution has clearly mentioned that the legislature will only make laws. The constitution has clearly mentioned that the executive will only implement the law. Executive cannot make a fresh law, or legislature cannot execute a law. Constitution has clearly mentioned that judiciary will ensure that the legislature or executive work in their own peripheral area, or they cannot interfere in their functions or working. And judiciary also ensure that the laws made by legislature is designed as per provision of constitution. But judiciary cannot make a fresh law. But judiciary cannot implement a law. And judiciary cannot go beyond constitution. Constitution can be amended, but certain parts of constitution cannot be amended. And to amend the constitution, parliament has power, but a limited power. Certain provision can be amended by the parliament, but in certain provision, parliaments require the consent of state that are mentioned in constitution. Therefore, supremacy of constitution. No other organ is beyond constitution. That is the functions or feature of written constitution. And what about unwritten constitution? For example, Britain. Every law made by British Parliament is a part of constitution. Parliament has power to destruct or decrease the power of executive or judiciary. There is a supremacy of parliament, because every act of parliament is a part of constitution. That is the sole difference between written constitution and unwritten constitution. Clear? So you have understand the constitution, written constitution and unwritten constitution, basic concept between written constitution and unwritten constitution. Clear? Now, there is another term that is called constitutionalism. Constitution provides powers to every organ of government. Clear? And every other important organ that is required to run a state. Clear? Is it possible to misinterpret the provision of constitution and exploit the rights or duties of citizen in order to make state more powerful? I am repeating again. Is it possible that by misinterpreting, by misusing the provision of constitution, one body can become arbitrary than other, or one body can capture more power from citizen and exploit the citizen to by misusing the provision of constitution? Is it possible? Is it possible? It is possible. It is possible. And there are certain examples in Indian political history from where you will understand that the provision of constitution has been misinterpreted or misuses. That we will discuss in other certain topics that we are going to read. Yeah, there are certain more topics that is going to. It is possible to misinterpret, or it is possible that the state becomes more powerful by exploiting the rights of citizen, or by decreasing the rights of citizen, by curtailing the rights of citizen. So there should be a mechanism that ensure that the government should remain in a limit. And that tool is known as constitutionalism. That tool is known as constitutionalism. What is constitutionalism? Constitutionalism is a political concept that ensure or impose necessary limits upon the government or upon the power of government. So constitutionalism again ensure democracy. Constitutional again is important for democracy, because the crux of democracy is sovereignty of people, sovereignty of citizen, freedom of citizen. So constitutionalism ensure democratic, a democratic system. And how constitutionalism is practiced? Again we will go back to that cycle. That is, constitutionalism ensure by rule of law. Constitutionalism ensure by due process of law. Constitutionalism ensure by equality before law. Constitutionalism ensure by separation of power. Now the next important thing is, what are the approaches that should be used to ensure constitutionalism? How constitutionalism should be ensured in a democratic system? So for that we have two approaches. One is modern approach and another one is traditional approach. One is modern approach and another one is traditional approach. What is traditional approach? Traditional approach is restricting the power of government. Restricting the power of restrict or impose restriction on the power of government. And what is modern approach? And how will how the power of government are restricted? Simply by expanding the scope of rights of people. Because rights are, fundamental rights are negative in character. Why? Because fundamental rights restrict the government to do certain things. fundamental rights or rights restrict the government to do certain things. For example, Article 21A, right to education, state cannot deny anyone to provide education. When state is going to arrest an individual, the individual gets the fundamental rights to inform its relative. State has to inform the individual on what ground the state is going to arrest him. And the state has to ensure that within 25 hours of arresting, the individual should be presented on front of judicial magistrate. That is the rights that is restricting the state. Otherwise, state will arrest any individual and he can only deny that I don't know about the individual. That's why the provision of Article 32 has been given, writs, habeas corpus. Supreme Court judiciary can order the state to present individual in front of judiciary. That ensure Article 20. There is a simple and short concept that in a state, there is a government and citizen. There is a government and citizen. The government has been formed when citizens have transferred their power to government, that we have discussed earlier. The citizen has transferred their power to government that on behalf of us perform these functions. Which functions? Ensure security, ensure law and order. Here. Now, if the rights of citizen gets deteriorated or gets limited, then the power of government will increase. Or if rights of citizen is expanded, then the power of government will decrease. So there is a relation between rights and power. If rights of citizen is increased, then power of government will be curtailed or decreases. And if rights of citizen is decreases, then power of government will automatically increase, because there is no third factor in this relation. Clear? That is, we have mentioned here that the constitutionalism should ensured by two approaches, traditional approaches or modern approaches. If you see, both the approaches are interlinked with each other. So, to ensure constitutionalism, in short, scope of rights should be expanded, so that government remains in the limits or periphery of constitution. This is the constitutionalism, and constitutionalism is important to ensure democracy, and democracy is ensured by rule of law, due process of law, procedure established by law, absence of arbitrary power, equality before law. And democracy is also ensured by presence of constitution, and constitution is of two types, written or unwritten. In written constitution, supremacy is of constitution itself, and in unwritten constitution supremacy of parliament or legislative body. And what is constitutionalism? That impose restriction or limits the power of government, and constitutionalism ensure democracy. Clear? There are 2-3 things more that we should discuss here, and this will be the crux of your NCERT book, political theory. First thing is, what is freedom? What is freedom? To do anything under the norms of society. There are certain things that ensure freedom. First thing is, if an individual is free, then he is free. There is no one can curtail his freedom. So freedom means absence of external restriction. Freedom means one can do anything. That is the freedom. One should have all opportunities, whatever he wants to do or whatever she wants to do. That is freedom. There should be no restriction that if you are male you should have done this, if you are female then you should have done this. Freedom means simply absence of external restriction, and freedom means I can do anything. I can express myself. That is freedom. Freedom means absence of external restriction and ability to express oneself. And why freedom is important? Why freedom is important? Freedom is important for personal growth. Freedom is important for creativity. Freedom is important for prosperity. Freedom is important for democracy. Freedom can be of two types. Freedom can be of two types: negative freedom and positive freedom. What is negative freedom and what is positive freedom? This absence of external constraint is an example of negative freedom. Absence of external constraint is example of negative freedom. Right to education is example of positive freedom. Positive freedom provides you an opportunity to develop yourself. Clearly. But freedom also have a responsibility that if you are free or you have freedom, it doesn't mean that your freedom affect or harm others' freedom. If you have freedom to listen a song at 80 or 85 dB, and if someone in your neighbor is a heart patient, he or she also has freedom to sleep. So freedom does not make free you. Freedom comes with limitations. Either we should say that freedom comes with responsibility. The more power you gain, the more responsible you become. The more power you gain, the more responsible you become. Suppose that if you are selected in JPSC or you have chosen the administrative service, then you will start your career from BDO, Block Development Officer. And at the end of your career, you have a chance to become district collector or district magistrate. As an BDO, comparatively you have less power, so you have less responsibility. You have a responsibility of only that particular block. As an DM, as compared to BDO, you have more power. You have many more such blocks under you, and you are responsible to such number of blocks. So more power, more responsibility. Less power, less responsibility. Here also more freedom, more responsibility or duty. Less freedom, less responsibility and duty. Clear? Next concept is equality. You have a chapter named freedom in that book, Political Theory. You can go through that. Next concept is equality. What is equality? What is equality? Absence of discrimination. Good. Equal treatment with all. Equal treatment with all. In what terms? In terms of rights, in terms of opportunity, in terms of dignity. That is equality. And equality can be of political equality, social equality, and economic equality. Political equality means every individual have same political rights. Every individual have same voting rights. Every individual have same rights to contest or to participate in election process. That is ensured by our constitution. Every individual who is of 18 or more years have right to vote, and every vote has one value. Either you are a rickshaw puller or you are a family of President of India. Your vote value will be count as one. If you are eligible, you can contest election. If you are eligible, you can form political association. You can make your political thoughts. You can express your political thoughts. You can support certain political ideologies. You have your own political ideology. You can take any political stance as you wish, as per law established. That is ensured by Constitution of India. Now, what is social equality? treatment of every individual in a society as equal. So absence of discrimination on the basis of religion, race, caste, sex, place of birth, color, race. Now language is a part of social equality. You can also include educational qualification. That's why the provision of Article 17, provision of Article 18 is given in Indian Constitution. Article 17 says that abolishment of untouchability. Article 18 says that no individual can use title, even though who won the national awards such as Padma Shri, Padma Bhushan or Padma Vibhushan, they cannot use that as a prefix or suffix to their name. Only those titles can be used which are achieved through educational qualification. That is why Article 15 is given our Constitution. No person can be discriminated only on the basis of race, caste, sex, place of birth or any one of them. Clear? But in society you can ensure equality, but at that point of time you should also have to ensure equity. And what is the difference between equality and equity? Equity means equals amongst the equals. So to ensure equality or to treat everyone as a equal, you have to ensure that your society has equity. Does Indian society has equity? No. That's why the Indian Constitution has given the provision of reservation for SC, ST, OBC, EWS, women, minorities, etc. in education, in job opportunity, in public opportunity. Those groups who are socially and educationally backward has given are treated as positive discrimination. They have given special reference. There is a women reservation in certain states in government job. Reservation of seats for jobs for SC, ST, OBC, EWS. Why? Because they are socially and educationally backward as compared to other classes of society. So to ensure social equality, the Constitution has given certain provision and government are also trying to ensure social equality. The government, to ensure gender equality, has started to provide freebies to the women. To increase literacy rate among the girls, the many state government has started to providing bicycles to the girls. To decrease dropouts of girls from school, the state government has started initiative to give monetary initiative to the girl's child. For example, in Bihar, if a female passes graduation, the state government gives him 50,000 rupees as an initiative. Why? To maintain gender equality or to ensure equality. That's why the positive discrimination is present in our society. Now, what is economic equality? That everyone should have a bungalow, 5-bedroom and a Mercedes and at least 5 crore of bank balance. That is not a economic equality. Economic equality means Economic equality means as per their qualification, one should have opportunity. What kind of opportunity? Economic opportunity. As per their skill, one should have economic opportunity in order to ensure its livelihood. That is equality. Now, next term is, what is social justice? What is social justice? Human beings needs certain basic human needs have certain basics requirement or certain basic needs. Social justice means availability of basic needs for all human beings that resides in that society. Social justice also means that fair distribution of what? Fair distribution of resources, fair distribution of rights, fair distribution of duties, that is responsibility. Resources, rights and responsibilities, fair distribution among all the individuals residing in a particular society. It ensures social justice. And justice is of two types. First is distributive justice. What is distributive justice? What is distribution? So distributive justice means fair allocation of wealth and all other resources that are available to the societies. For example, free health care scheme, free education scheme, old age pension. That is a part of distributive justice. Another is corrective justice. What is correction? What is correction? Rectification of mistakes. That is correction. Rectification of mistakes. So, corrective justice means rectification of injustice. Like reservation. Rectification of injustice is known as reservation. One last topic is, what is nationalism? What is nationalism? So before defining nationalism, First, we should define what is a nation. What is a nation?
Which the citizens share a common goal, common ideas,
A fixed geographical area have a fixed population and a fixed political, social and economic system is known as nation. Fixed geographical area, fixed political, social and economical system and common culture is known as nation. Now what is nationalism? Adhering to the, in more simpler terms, we can say that a sense of belongingness to a particular nation which has common culture, or the nation based on common culture, heritage, language or history is known as nationalism. A sense of belonging to a nation based on common history, culture, language and other things is known as nationalism. For example, state is a political organization. State sometimes we used in terms of country, but politically if you see, state is a political system that forms government and peripheral organization. Clear? Nation is a fixed territory with common history, culture, language, etc. Country sometimes refer nation or country used simultaneously. And what do you have asked? State is a political term. We use just for example Jharkhand state. Jharkhand state means Jharkhand a political system. Jharkhand is a part of India. It's not a distinct nation or something else. That's why we call it state. And nation and country are used simultaneously. So nationalism means a sense of belonging to a nation based on common culture, history and heritage is known as nationalism. Now, there are certain challenges to nationalism. For example, if nationalism means common culture, then the first and foremost challenge is what? Communalism. First challenge is communalism. Regionalism. Earlier you have mentioned the language. In recent times, there are certain examples from where the regionalism concept has suddenly evolved in Indian political system. For example, there is this state, Karnataka is emphasizing to use its own state flag. There is a news of using a state flag at DGP office or something else. Terrorism is also a challenge to nationalism. So these are the core concepts that are required in order to read the constitution and polity. There are certain other concepts such as secularism, republic, socialism that we will discuss when we start the preamble chapter, because the preamble is based upon these keywords. There we will discuss each and every keyword. So these are the basic things, And all these keywords you can find out in the political theory book NCRTs. And I will suggest that you should read at least those two books, Indian Constitution at Work and Political Theory. And then you got a booklet from here, and in class I also dictate something to write that will be sufficient for your JPSC journey. Now if you have any questions regarding this, then you can ask me, otherwise we will end this session. The Jharkhand current affairs will be provided here only. We have a magazine for current affairs, and then you got certain classes of current affairs based on Jharkhand. So that we will provide you. You can read that. See, if you read the newspaper, I will suggest on personal basis that you should read at least one newspaper, because by reading newspaper you can develop a reasoning habit or rational habit. That is good. I think for JPSC Indian Express is good and enough. And in a week, or sometimes if you heard a news about Jharkhand, then you can refer to any videos or any newspaper, and you should have certain knowledge about that news. In prelims, from current affairs you got only one liner question that will be covered here only. Any other question? That will inform by at reception. Okay, thank you.